You know, you started this business so you could get free. I mean, that's why you went into business. And you did, right? You got free, right? I mean, you're free to work any 80 hours a week you choose. It's your choice, right? So this business that was supposed to be this incredibly life-enriching, freeing thing is now sucking the life right out of you. I mean, have any of you realized that your business can suck the life right out of you? And the reason for this really is because you've never defined what it is that you want out of life. So in order for this business to serve your life, and so many small businesses, the line between business and life has gotten so thin that it's imperceptible. So this business that was supposed to serve your life is now no longer capable of it. So absolutely what you have, the very first step, in fact, before anybody starts a business, they should do this step, is you really need to define what is it that you want out of life. What is it that you would like your life to look like in 10, 15, 30 years from now? And the reason that I say that is absolutely essential for that to be the first step is because then the goal is, how can you design a business that serves that purpose instead of the other way around? So what is it that you do want? What is it you don't want? What are you willing to give up or change in order to get what it is you want out of life? And so then, as I said, with that firmly in mind, with that firmly held deep inside you, then the goal is to build a business that serves that. So that requires then having some sort of vision for what you want your business to be. Not just tomorrow. I mean, unfortunately, there are many people that have their heads down so much in the making it, fixing it, and shipping it that the idea of what this business is going to look like 1 week from now, let alone 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, but without a picture of that business, and I've heard people even refer to it as a picture of the business when it's done, when it is functioning exactly as you had envisioned, and that it is serving, this model life that you want. Without that vision, and even a description, I would tell people as an exercise to go as far as literally painting me a picture of what that business would look like if you walked into it 3 years, 5 years from now. And again, there will be lots of incremental steps to get there, but without sort of that end game in mind, you won't be able to, in my opinion, make the right choices, to make the right decisions on a day-to-day basis that will take you there. As well as the fact that if you have employees and associates that you want to bring along, on that vision, but yet you've never shared it, you've never articulated it, you've never been able to share it with them, they've never been able to buy in to that vision as well, then what you're doing is creating a whole bunch of jobs instead, as well as a job for yourself, as opposed to a business. So absolutely essential that you have this vision for where you want to go. Now, one of the things that I find can be a great tool to really help bring a lot of this home, because one of the reasons, certainly we start businesses because, as I said, we want more out of life. Well, in some cases, that business is just, the fact of the matter is it's going to have to produce X amount of revenue for one of the goals to be met, of what you want out of your life or how this business would serve your life. So it's also essential, I think, that you set goals around what is that revenue going to be? What does it need to be? What do you want it to be 1, 3, 5 years from now? And in doing so, what is absolutely essential that you do then, because it's easy for all the work to suck you in. You can do all of the stuff in the tornado, as I call it, that needs to be done. But if you have a vision for here's one way I can measure, what I'm doing if I'm making progress, and that measurement is how much revenue this business is generated. One of the exercises I'd like you to do is, let's say that you want to make $150,000 a year. That's going to be your 1 year goal in not revenue for the business, but your actual take home, that you can pay yourself. Okay. Well, one of the things that you need to do is divide that number by 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year, which is 2,080. Okay, if you were to do that, what you're going to come up with is a number of 75. So what that is and I've actually called this your pay, or your personal average yield, if we want to, I've got to come up with some groovy terms for you. But that personal average yield is your $75 an hour number. Okay, so what that means is that you need to, for every day 8 hours a day that you're working in your business, you need to be doing work that is generating for the business, for you, at least $75 an hour. Now, if you're not, I mean, if you're doing work like my favorite is, fixing the copier, or, getting somebody's email to work, or, or even some of the personal things you do, like mowing your lawn, which, I love mowing my lawn, but the fact of the matter is, that may be something that's taken away from me doing work like marketing, which I believe is some of your highest payoff activity. So if you can come up with that number, then the goal really is to start finding ways to either outsource or delegate properly work that is not paying you that, so that you can focus on the real work in the business. And I think that's just a good tangible way. I hate to make everything about money, but it is a good tangible way for you to measure what it is you're doing, and is this a high payoff activity, or is this a low payoff activity, beyond my threshold? And if it is, then I need to start setting some goals around finding ways to get that work done by others, so I can focus on the high payoff. Now, the exercise that I would have you go through if you're just starting your business, or if you've been in business 10 years, is to make a little form that any of you have worked in accounting firms or larger organizations that bill by time will get this. It's basically a timesheet. And put it next to your desk. And for the next 2 weeks, when you go into your work every day, and you don't have to write every minute out, but kind of hour by hour or half hour by half hour, keep track of what you've been doing, your actual activity. And then at the end of that day, assign a dollar value to that work. I think for many people, you will find that it'll be very eye-opening how much time you spend on doing needless things, not even the low payoff, but in some cases completely needless things, that having that tangible written, I think, will make it a lot easier for you to focus on, here's how I need to be spending my time. So get a vision for what it is, get some picture for what it is you want out of life. Get the vision for your business and how that business then can be set up and run to serve that picture of your life. Start looking at measurable things like your personal average yield or your pay that you need to make, and then create a timesheet so that you can keep track of and get in the habit of spending your time much more wisely.